Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a game from Meeple BR from Brazil called World Wonders, but this is being reprinted or co-printed with Arcane Wonders. It's coming out at Gen Con this year. So the copy that I'm looking at is from Brazil initially. This is a special cover they made that has the English name on it. The components are still from the Brazilian one, but it's basically the same game, and I wanted to show this to you. This is about building a city with some of the wonders of the world in it.
Yeah.
What's the best wonder of the world?
The Statue
of Liberty.
Yeah, that one with the hanging
torch.
The hanging
hanging
thingies
library
in the garden.
with the torch
And
guy,
the big
hanging
heads.
library.
And the big heads coming out of the ground.
And then and
that
then
one.
the guy rolling and then
Yeah.
the pointy ones.
You know,
There's
right.
3 of them.
So the Great Wall is the answer. Okay, but no one
sorry.
said that. All right.
Okay.
Weirdos. Anyhow, in this game, the thing that attracted me to this initially, you look at it and you see these little wooden wonders of the world.
Right.
You get to build them and put them in your city. But is it a good game? Let's take a look at how the game plays, and we'll be right back. In this game, each player is going to get a board. You can play the A side with the big lake, or my preference, which would be the B side that has a river on it. You're also going to have a board that keeps track of your coins, your population, and then 3 other tracks down here at the bottom. And each of these tracks, there's going to be ways that you score points. The lowest of the green, red, and blue track at the end of the game, depending on how high these are, you're going to score the lowest track. So if this is the way they were, I would score 5 points. The population, as you move these tracks, you'll see as you move them up, it might move your population up. The last 3 spots in the population give 1 point each. That's what rings mean. As you build wonders of the world, they are at least worth 1 point, and there's a couple of them that are worth 2 points, like Machu Picchu. You're also going to get points. You have natural resources on your board. So any natural resource that you have a tile connected to and don't cover up, you can cover them up, but if you don't cover them up and you connect to them, they're worth a point. And then every tile on the board that's a building that is completely surrounded is worth a point. So how do you play the game? Each round of the game, you're going to turn the top one of these tiles face up so everybody can see it. So we'll turn them all face up. And in fact, if you play with different numbers of players, 4 and 5 players, you'll be adding more buildings to it. So there's more buildings that can be added. I'm showing you the middle here with 2 or 3 players. Each of these buildings can be one of different types. Like, for example, the purple buildings are temples. These are housing. They have a letter in the corner, and they're also a different color. So players are going to take turns based on turn order here. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be spending your coins. So think of them as action points. So if I want to take this tile, for example, it's going to cost me 4 coins. So I spend the 4 coins. I'll take this tile and place it on my board. When you place tiles on your board, they have to be next to a road, normally. You start with 1 road, and you'll be able to get more as the game goes by. You can place any of your building tiles next to a road, where at least one piece of it touches that road. Or if you have a building that is the same color district, you can just connect those like that. So I can have 2 housing districts next to each other. But if I add a temple district, I can't put it here, but I could put it maybe here next to the road. Again, you can cover up the natural resources. You cannot put anything on the river. However, you can build the road in such a way eventually that it will cross the river as long as both sides start and end on land. When you build a tile, you'll look at the icons on it. This one shows 4 on the building. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll move that there. I pass 1 population. I move the population up. When population gets all the way to the end of one player's track here, that's a trigger for the end of the game, or when all the tiles have come out. As tiles are taken, they're not replaced. So what else can you spend your money on? Well, there's a few things. There's going to be roads that are placed out based on the number of players. Either a group of 2 short ones, and this one, so you can kind of curve your roads, and long ones. Each of these is going to cost a coin. You can decide you would like to go first or second in player order. That also costs a coin. And you can build a tower. There's always a tower available each round for someone to build. A tower can be placed anywhere on your board, and you can always make roads come out of your tower. So if your roads get stopped by buildings, you can place this out. And then there's Wonders of the World. There are always 3 Wonders of the World that are available to build. And the cost to build a Wonder of the World is all your remaining coins. So as you look at your track here, you could do it on the very first turn to get the wonder of the world that you want, but you spend all your coins. You would rather wait till you get to 6. As a side note, as you're spending your coins, you can go up to 9, but you have to take a loan out to do that. You can only ever have 1 loan, and you'll have to pay it back in a future turn by spending 3 coins, or you lose 2 points at the end of the game, which is pretty critical. But anyway, when you spend all your coins to take on Wonder of the World, each Wonder of the World has very specific requirements. It will show you what kind of terrain it needs to be on. So Petra needs to be on 2 land tiles. The Lighthouse of Alexandria needs to be on 4 tiles. They can be water or land, but one of them has to be water. And then they have to be adjacent to things. So the Lighthouse of Alexandria has to be next to a road and next to a B building, which is a library building. The obelisks, they have to be 1 space apart, next to be a road, and next to a housing building. Petra doesn't need to be next to a road, it just needs to be next to 2 of the market buildings. So in this, definitely made for the camera example, I could place all those. Petra needs to be next to 2 markets. I could place it right there in those spots. And this also helps surround buildings. The edge of the board surrounds building, roads surround buildings, natural resource surround building, but these do too. And then I would take this card and move up 1 on the red track, and it's worth a point at the end of the round. The obelisks here, I need them to be next to, as collectively as a group, a house and a road. So this one's next to a house and a road, but I need to put them on apart. So I can put 1 here and 1 there. And then the Lighthouse of Alexandria needs to be next to a B building and next to a road. And I could put that right there. Folks, there are all kinds of Wonders of the World. Wonders of the World, the only thing that if you take one, it's immediately replaced, so someone else has the ability to make them. And each of them comes with their own wooden piece. So we have Machu Picchu. The pyramids are a 3-piece gigantic thing. The Great Wall is 3 pieces, as is the statues from Easter Island. We have the aqueduct here. We have the ziggurat. We have the racing track. We have the theater here, the temple. There are all kinds of them, and all of them just go on the board. So like I said, I already told you how scoring works. The game will end when 1 person gets here, or more likely, when all the tiles from the stacks have been revealed. Turn order is going to be changed each round based on whoever's highest in population. Unless someone's taken first and second place, they will go first. And then you'll add more roads and and a tower, again, based on the number of players. That's how you play. I will never not be a big fan of miniatures. I think miniatures are fun. They look great in games.
Yep.
But man, the wooden stuff here. I can't imagine anything else.
Yeah.
Printed wooden buildings, especially the amount of
not stickers
detail that it takes to build some of these logistically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like layers of wood so that it looks like a Colosseum or whatever. So neat.
It's so well done that they're all made of wood and look so unique and individual, but yet still have cohesion amongst them.
Yes.
You know, they still look like they go together. So on your board, as you're building it out, you really do see your city kind of come to fruition or come to life here. You know, and they have that similar look, but all very distinct at the same time. And that being said, I like that too because they fit on the board so differently. They all become their own polyomino, right? And some of the polyominoes you even make yourself as you're placing it out, and it can bend a different way, or you can kind of, as you follow the placement rules, make it fit in your board. I just think that's so very well done in this.
It gets the oohs and ahs when the new monument comes out. You're like, "Ooh, I want Machu Picchu now." You see it, you're like, "I'm gonna go after that." And everybody, everyone's thinking the same thing.
It's almost disappointing when you find out that there's 3 out there, and like all 3 are only worth 1 point. You're like, yeah, but that one's big.
Yeah,
that one's you want those cool ones, even though they're worth the same.
Yeah.
And that is the thing in this game. The first time you play, you're going to want to build a wonder.
You are.
Or 2, or 3,
or like 12.
or more.
Yeah.
Or
pyramids.
Yeah, you can only build 1 per turn. And I want to talk about that because I love that part of the game. So the money, which is, like I said in the overview, it's essentially just actions that you spend.
Yeah.
And you're buying different size tiles, and that's all cool. But that fact that you can buy a monument whenever you can stick it in your thing, which at the start of beginning 2 and 3, you probably can do that easily.
Yep.
When do you do it? And is anyone else about to build the same one?
Right.
Should I use up 4 money to do it, or I could build a couple more things, and then you want to get to 6 and then spend 1 gold to get the monument.
Right.
I love that concept. It's such a neat thing.
Really good that it ends your turn no matter how much you've got left.
Yeah.
It's got to push your luck. It's got that like one-upmanship feel to it. And it'll definitely bite you sometimes. It did me playing that last time we played.
Bit me twice.
Because I'm like, no, I can go around one more time and buy that tile or get some Rhodes or whatever. Then I'm picking you up. Nope. Somebody swoops in and takes it, and then you have to readjust. But yeah, it's a great feeling. I think mechanically, it does so many neat, fun things. Polyomino, yeah, sure.
Right.
But on top of
It's a
that,
small part.
actions, which they track again as coins, but it's like action points of old. Kind of like Takao.
Yes.
Kind of like those old games. That they don't make too many of those action point games. And then the road, having to build off of the road, but you decide where that road veers off to, having to deal with the lake or the river. Oh man, there's like all these mechanisms that just make a fantastic soup. Really work well.
Yeah, I like the push your luck on, waiting to build that wonder till later and later and hoping that you're kind of gauging. Because there have been times where I've been burnt too. I want to build that bridge, and I'm like, I can do one more, then it's gone. And you're like,
Right.
I can't fit any of these other ones in the area that I've got. 'Cause
Right.
I've got too many roads out right now.
And you have to really like switch quick and like, okay, what can I make work?
Right,
Or
you
there
gotta
was one
pivot.
round specifically when it was like, all right, I'm hoping somebody's going to come out here and buy one of these so I can get something new because I'm nowhere near any of these 3 monuments to build.
Right.
And so you're kind of like just taking one action at a time, hoping someone brings it out. And it does or doesn't happen. So there's a great tension in that decision as well on how you spend those actions.
And then the replayability too, when you know what the wonders are by the second and third place, so you might be waiting, keeping one area open. You're like, what? Once this comes out,
Yeah.
I'm going to go at it. But you can only keep it open for so long.
Right.
And you're fighting over everything in this game.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
stuff you want everything. That first player marker gets chosen all the time.
Yeah.
Now, not as much maybe in a 2-player game or a 3-player game. I've seen it chosen in a 3-player game. But you want that. You also want the tower. There's only one available, and that tower could go anywhere, fill in a spot, start a new road somewhere.
big.
You want the small grouping of roads. You want the large roads. You want the different shapes. You want the bigger ones because they give you more icons, but you'll want the smaller ones because you can fit them right in where you need them to go. And then it's not just the shape, but the type of building, so you can build the wonders. And it feels, I don't know, every turn I'm like, I want that, and I sure hope Z doesn't take it.
Yes.
I feel that every time.
The turn
That's
angst
true.
is through and through in the game. Yes, absolutely. I think my only negative when it comes to wanting everything, having people steal the monuments like you guys are saying, is that sometimes, this is very rare, but sometimes you do find yourself with, say, you're at 5 coins of 7 or whatever, and you don't really have anything you can really do anymore. The monuments you can't take.
Right.
This is late game normally, and there might be like the things are gone, the buildings, the polyominoes. So you can sometimes just be like, well, I can't really do anything. What's left? I can be second place. Like, that's about it. Sometimes even that's gone. So that can happen, and that's my one negative on the game, that it's so finely tuned that late in the game, sometimes you have nothing to do with your 2 remaining coins or what have you.
And I will say it's not even always late game that it happened. I mean, I had it happen in one of the plays like mid game where it was like, okay, well, what I was going to do is take and there's nothing for me to do. So I think I wasted like 2 action points because all those bonus roads were taken. The first player was taken. There was nothing left that I could afford. I know you could have taken the loan, but I didn't want to take the loan. So
That's
it
true.
was
The
like,
loan does exist
it
for
does
that
exist,
reason,
but
and
it's too. I feel like it's too punishing. I would never
right,
take
but
it.
Here's the thing, though. You don't spend 2 on one turn. So why not add 2 more, take the 4, and then next turn you spend 3, so you lose 1 on your next turn instead of losing 2 this turn.
Yeah, I get that, but it's just not my play style. Like I will tell you all right now, they might as well not have that. I will never do it. like right,
I've
I
definitely
will
done
not.
it a few times.
For me, this is the only game I will do the loan. I don't find it as punishing as other games because you do lose that. But if you take it early in the game, you're going to get those benefits later.
Well, again, like Tom
longer.
said, and when you pointed this out, it kind of clicked for me. I'm like, oh, loans. No, I'm terrified of that. But then when you're really, like you're saying, it's really you're borrowing 1 action point from yourself from next round.
Right.
It's like, oh.
It doesn't have to be next round,
you're
but I just assume you'll pay it off as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You're wasting an action later to get it now. like, all right, yeah, if I think of it in those terms, then I'll see myself doing it.
I get that, but I think for me it's still that angst. But okay, but then maybe the next round I would want it because something comes out that I actually can do. Like, anyway, just my play style does not play into that at all. I think my one hang up with the game came from just the AP that can happen in this game. You have really quick turns, right? Do one thing, next person, next person, next person, and then all of a sudden, boom. Somebody has to sit here and reason through it and crunch through it, and I don't know this or that. And next thing you know, they're like, okay, well, I just need to place this tile. You guys go ahead. Okay, boom, boom, boom. It's back to that person. Oh, hold on, I'm still finishing my last turn, or something like that. Especially, and then at the end of the game, I feel like the last quarter of the game is easily as long as the first 3 quarters of the game.
That doesn't bother me because it's so fast. You're saying at the AP, but you're thinking for like a minute, as opposed to 10-second turns. So it seems longer, but in reality, it's not that long.
But that feel of it still feels, whether it is actually a minute, it feels really, really long. And so because of that.
As the analysis paralysis player, because I was watching you think like this, and it didn't bother me.
See, so I think, but when it wasn't, again, I don't even think that I have analysis paralysis in a lot of games. Okay, well, I don't think so.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I really don't think so.
I don't think any.
I mean, I think I do slow down sometimes, and I think about my turns, but I wouldn't say that I'm an extreme AP person, and I still felt myself slowing down, felt like kind of the angst on other people's turns.
So while on your turn, I don't know. There's a lot going on. I felt like, I don't know. The game is 90 minutes at most, and I like that. It feels like a longer game.
I think you can do it in
playing.
60, but yeah.
It's a crunchy game, too.
Right.
For 90 minutes, you get a very crunchy experience. And I agree with you that it does slow it down later on. You got more to think about. You want to be careful you don't make a mistake. Once you put something somewhere and then realize, oh, wait, that monument no longer is going to fit there. I can't really do this anymore. Yes, absolutely. If you are someone prone to a lot of analysis paralysis, be aware of that.
Right.
The flip side of that is the game's short, and most turns are punchy. It's a quick-moving game. Gives you a big experience.
You're going to have regrets on it because, when that happens, you're going to miss things. Like, I had somebody with AP next to me, and it was every time they were doing what I want. And I don't have AP because I'm ready, but then he'd always do what I wanted to do. I'm like,
You have to rethink something.
And you got to rethink it. Then by that time, I'm like, I'll just do this to hurry it along. And I'm like, man. And it's really disheartening. And later in the game, those towers go quick. They're gone. You're not going to get there.
Oh, right, absolutely.
That's why you got to get that first player marker because they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
I like it, though, the idea of taking the first player marker. But
do, too.
And then the wonder of the world that you really want comes out, and you're like,
yes.
Right.
okay, so how many things can I take before I force take that before someone else takes
Right,
it?
yeah.
I love this game.
I do, too.
My only negative about it is not really a negative. It's just that I wish there was more wonders. And I get why there's not. Price point and all that. If you played with 4... in a 4-player game, we ran out of monuments, and I've not played this with 5, but it's obviously going to happen more because there's only so many that show up.
Right.
3 is my perfect number for this game.
Yeah.
But it was fine with 4. I'm just saying I could see them releasing wonder packs, and I would buy them all. Like, we got the Statue of Liberty, we got this, and it would be easy to just throw them right in the deck. Another thing I did not show in the overview, there are cards that you can play that say that they're endgame scoring cards. It's an optional variant you can add. So whoever has the most connected houses, whoever built the most temples, whoever has the longest road will score 3 points and second place gets 1. There's not a lot of points in this game, by the way.
No.
So when you say a Wonder World's only 1 point, but 1 point is not nothing.
To give reference, we were like 30s, right?
Yeah.
So
a lot of it comes from you have 10 natural resources on your board. You connect all 10 of those. That's 10 points. You might not be able to. You surround 6 tiles. That's points. Wonders of the World are points. And then the tracks. I've ignored tracks before and I've done okay. But if you still don't get as many points.
Not as the tracks are huge.
You want to do that.
And being balanced in the tracks is really huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you give the game?
I'm going to come down at 8.5 on this. I really enjoyed the gameplay and what you were talking about, the melding of the different mechanisms in this. I love the tension of it, trying to plan out trying to maximize your entire round. You're not trying to maximize your turn, but you're trying to maximize the round on what can I do and in what order, trying to balance the luck of what you're doing as well. I love all that. For me, it does suffer a little bit. Like I said, I think that the last quarter of the game just grinds to an absolute halt. halt. And with that, it takes you out of the theme as well. I feel like especially the whole last round is nothing but looking at your board and just maximizing. He has grandiose plans for this big city. And then the last round, that goes completely out the window. And it's just like, okay, well, that's 1.2 point here. I need to close this in. And so you kind of realize that you can't do everything you set up for. What can I do? And it becomes a points game at that point. So it takes me a little bit out of the theme that last round, which kind of takes the wind out of the sails. And you guys say it's a short game. 90 minutes, I don't really think is a short game. I think that's like standard length. So for me, it's just kind of that it does suffer the end. That last round is kind of a suffer in the time it takes and bringing you out of the theme. That being said, so very much enjoy everything up to that point and the gameplay and the mechanisms. It's just good angst. It's good planning, good tactical trying response. To what other players are doing. It has so many good things in it.
Yeah, I come in right at 8.5 as well, and I'm between 8.5 and 9. But my biggest things, I love polyomino and city building, and this has both of those. Anything that you make that, and afterwards you're like, wow, you feel accomplished. You look what you created, and you're like, yeah, and it's really good. I do like it. I would like more wonders. That's my biggest thing, but I think those hopefully will be coming. But I do like the game a lot.
I'm giving it a 9. I think it's fantastic. It reminds me of so many other games I like. It's such like I said, a good soup of stuff. It's got those tracks that reminds me of Hadara a little bit. Those tracks moving up,
it does, yeah.
the action points with kind of like that Tikal kind of vibe, and then polyominoes. There's a lot of polyomino games, a lot of them. This is a fantastic polyomino game. Certainly enhanced by the fact that some of the polyominoes look like miniature world wonders. But above and beyond that, it's a good one, man. There's not a lot of crazy stuff. It sets out to do something, and it does that incredibly well. I think it's fantastic. World Wonders is an amazing game.
Yeah, I actually disagree. I think the end of the game does not drag for me. I think it ends with a bang. I think it's very thematic the whole way through. I'm also giving it a 9. This is one of my favorite games I played this year. And I mean, I was hoping, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, this looks so good. Please be good. And yeah, tile laying games don't often have theme, but this one seems to make sense. The World Wonders would make a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
Like you're building the aqueduct. It needs to cross the river. It needs to be next to these buildings. Like, well, that makes sense.
It is really cool with that.
The pyramids are fantastic, but try to fit them in. And then when you're done, each person, you want to take a picture of your city.
You do.
You have all these cool buildings with a couple World Wonders sprinkled out. It just looks cool.
Yeah.
And nobody's city looks like that at the table. And it probably never will again.
Yep.
Yeah. Every game is going to be unique for sure.
So check this one out. This is one that has not got a lot of pre-buzz, honestly. And it's not. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the bigger games of this year. It's a lot of fun.
I agree.
That's World Wonders. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I built Machu Picchu.